All right, in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to solve a quadratic equation by the use of the quadratic formula. Before I proceed, please kindly subscribe to this channel to encourage me to produce more of this content. Thank you very much. Now, before I proceed, it is not all quadratic equation that can be solved by factorization. Right? So the concept of the use of quadratic formula is to be able to solve a quadratic equation that can be solved by factorization. And of course, quadratic formula is actually gotten from the completing the square of the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So what is the quadratic formula? The quadratic formula in x is given by x is equal to what? Minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac, everything over what? Over 2a. Now, there's something we need to understand, that if the root is not a complex root, we can easily solve it by quadratic formula. But if the root falls in the complex domain, it can be solved by quadratic formula. We have to solve it as a complex root. All right, so now let's look at an example of how to use the quadratic formula. So let me, for instance, if we have a question like this, let's say the question says we should solve a quadratic, equation of, we have x squared, right, minus x minus what? Minus 12 is equal to 0. So, and of course, quadratic, the discriminant was actually gotten. This is an aspect of the quadratic formula is actually a discriminant. So let's leave that aside. So the coefficient of x squared here is 1. The coefficient of x here is also what? 1. So if I equate it with ax squared plus bx plus c, like if I say ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, it implies that a is equal to 1, b is equal to, if you compare it, that is minus 1, and c is equal to what? Minus what? Minus 12. So this is what we are going to be plugging into the quadratic formula. So let me just put it in here. So this one will now give us what? X will now be what? Minus b, that is minus into bracket what? Minus 1, because b is minus 1. Then we have plus or minus square root of b squared, that is what? Minus 1 square minus 4 into bracket a, that is 1 into bracket, what is c? That is minus 12, right? Everything over 2a, that is 2 into bracket. What is a? A in this case is what? 1. So we now have what? X is equal to what? Minus times minus, that is plus. That is 1 plus or minus square root of what? B square minus 1 square, that will give us 1. I have explained it previously that minus 1 square is the same thing as minus 1 into bracket minus 1, which is equal to what? 1. Minus 4 times 1, minus 4. Then minus 4 times minus 12, that is plus 48. Because minus times minus is plus. Then everything over what? Over 2. So we have x is equal to what? 1 plus or minus square root of what? 49 over what? Over 2. And don't forget that 49 is a perfect square. Basically, this particular equation can be solved by factorization, but what I'm actually trying to explain here is that is how to use the quadratic formula. So we now have x is equal to what? 1 plus or minus square root of 49. 49 is a perfect square. That is what? 7 over 2. So this one will return 1 plus 7 over 2 and 1 minus 7 over what? Over 2. So if we decompose it, we now have what? X will now be equal to 1 plus 7, that is what? 8 over 2. And x is equal to what? 1 minus 7, that's minus 6 over what? 2. So x is equal to what? 8 divided by 2, that is 4. And x is equal to minus 6 over 2. And that will give us what? Minus 3. So definitely the quadratic equation has two distinct roots. That is because the discriminant is greater than 0. Okay, so that is why we have x is equal to 4 and x is equal to what? Minus 3. But we can also still use the quadratic formula for a problem whereby there is no perfect square here. So if you just plug it in, just make use of your calculator to do the rest, and you see the answer. I want to believe that this video has helped someone. Please, if you have any question, contribution, comment, please just drop it in the comment section. But most importantly, don't forget to subscribe. Looking forward to receiving your comment. Thank you. See you in the next video.